Sky values the safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of statements detrimental to the team made by Angel Reese during league-mandated media, she will not play in the first half of the game on September 7th against the Las Vegas Aces. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we are moving Angel Reese facing her first bit of accountability here in the WNBA. Unapologetically, Angel, the Chicago Sky don't care about any of that right now. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about go out and say what you want. Be unapologetic. They have no time for that. They have a business to run. They have teammates that they care about, players on the roster that they're looking for. You know what? We got to send a message. This isn't cool to Vandersloot. This isn't cool to Banham. This isn't cool to Haley Van Lith. We got to show the other players on the roster we have your back.
That wasn't just a press release. That was a declaration of war. That was the final move in a calculated and brutal revenge plot, executed perfectly by the very teammates Angel Reese tried to humiliate. The story they don't want you to know is that this suspension wasn't a punishment handed down from on high. It was the end game of a locker room coup, a hostile takeover where the veterans she targeted as being old and washed up united to reclaim their team and expose her as a fraud. They told you this was about statements detrimental to the team. But I'm here to tell you the truth. This was about payback. For weeks, the Chicago Sky locker room was a powder keg, and Angel Reese didn't just light the match. She poured gasoline all over it. And in the end, the players she tried to burn down are the ones who rose from the ashes to end her reign. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you, step by step, how they pulled it off. This is the story of how a team took its revenge. Every great revenge story starts with a great betrayal. To understand how the Sky veterans orchestrated this takedown, you have to understand the sheer arrogance of Reese's initial attack. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a targeted assassination of her teammates' character, live in the media for the entire world to see. It started with a general, dismissive wave of her hand at the entire roster she was supposed to be leading.
Chicago Sky teammates of Angel Reese, Ariel Atkins, Rachel Banham, Courtney Vandersloot, three ladies which were targeted in that hit piece that Angel Reese slid underneath the table. Yeah, they responded. Not only did they respond, let's see what Angel Reese had to say. I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. Oh boy. Reese told the Tribune, we have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure we attract the best of the best, because we can't settle for what we have this year.
I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. Think about the gall of that statement. The person the franchise had built everything around, the player they traded valuable assets to support, was essentially calling her own teammates garbage. She wasn't saying, we'd need to be better. She was saying, they aren't good enough for me. In that same September 3rd Chicago Tribune interview, she directly questioned whether veteran players like Rachel Banham and Haley Van Lith were even good enough to be part of a playoff team. That alone would be enough to start a civil war in any professional locker room. But Angel Reese wasn't done. She had to make it crueler. She had to make it personal. She set her sights on a legend, a two-time WNBA champion, a woman who left the championship contending New York specifically to come help Chicago build a winner, Courtney Vandersloot. And this is the moment the revenge plot was truly born.
We can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age that she's at, Reese said. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before. Courtney Vandersloot, by the way, two-time WNBA champion, five-time All-Star, two-time All-WNBA first team, left the New York Liberty, a championship caliber team, to come help out the Chicago. Oh, damn. Oh, damn, oh, dang, oh, damn. It's all right, Courtney. I would be highly surprised if Angel Reese is on the Chicago Sky's roster come the start of the 2026 or the 2027 season. The Chicago Sky, they might be saying to themselves, Angel Reese just isn't worth the headache that she is causing. Great rebounder. As for everything else, she's not worth the headache.
We can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age that she's at. Just listen to the breathtaking disrespect in those words. A 36-year-old icon, battling back from a devastating ACL injury, dismissed like she was nothing. This is a 5-time All-Star, a player who knows more about winning than Reese might ever learn. And she was being called too old and unreliable by the team's supposed cornerstone. The media presented the aftermath as simple tension. But the truth is, that interview was a kill shot to team chemistry. Sources inside the league confirmed the locker room erupted almost immediately. Rachel Bannum told reporters she felt completely blindsided. The fury was so intense it forced an emergency players-only meeting where teammates confronted Reese directly about her betrayal. But this wasn't just a meeting to air grievances. This was a war council. This was the moment the veterans realized they had been publicly executed, and the only path forward was to fight back. They weren't just angry. They were armed. And Reese had just handed them all the ammunition they would ever need. The most effective revenge isn't just loud, it's precise. The Sky veterans knew that simply yelling back at Reese wouldn't be enough. To truly win, they had to expose her hypocrisy on a scale that the front office, the media, and the entire WNBA couldn't ignore. And the hypocrisy was staggering. You see, what makes this betrayal so vile is what happened before the cameras were rolling, before the Tribune interview. Angel Reese wasn't just attacking her teammates. She was attacking the very people who had protected her when she was at her worst.
It's over. That whole Sky Barbie thing, that thing is over. Angel Reese is done in Chicago. Beginning of the season, you was missing mad layups. You was shooting like 27% on layups. I saw Ariel Atkins at the podium holding you down. I didn't see none of your teammates going in the media blasting your ass for not being able to make a damn layup. We haven't seen none of your teammates come out and flame you for how you was missing layups back to back to back to back to back. You had like 8 straight games where these dudes won hundreds of thousands of dollars betting that you would miss your first shot. None of your teammates came out and embarrassed you publicly. They held you down.
Listen to that again. In the beginning of the season, you was missing mad layups. I saw Ariel Atkins at the podium holding you down. I didn't see none of your teammates going in the media, blasting your ass for not being able to make a damn layup. This is the hidden truth that fueled the revenge. While Reese was struggling, shooting just 27% on layups and becoming the subject of bets that she'd miss her first shot for 8 straight games, her teammates had her back. Ariel Atkins, one of the veterans she implicitly called not good enough, was at the podium defending her. They were a shield for her, and her response was to turn around and stab them in the back. While Reese was demanding at great players, her own stat line told a story of chaos and undisciplined play. She led the entire WNBA with 118 turnovers in just 30 games. Let that sink in. She somehow managed to accumulate more mistakes than players who competed in a full season, all while missing games herself. Her 3.9 turnovers per game were a constant liability. But it gets worse. She was also a magnet for drama that directly cost her team. Reese also led the league with 8 technical fouls, earning an automatic suspension for a critical, highly anticipated matchup against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. She quite literally cost the team competitive opportunities through her own lack of discipline. And here is the secret the veterans held on to. The piece of information they were waiting to deploy. Multiple reports suggested the team actually played better when she wasn't there. The ball movement was cleaner, the offense flowed better, and there was less chaos on the court. The very star demanding upgrades was the one holding them back. Her teammates knew it. They saw it every day in practice. They felt it on the court, and they waited for the perfect moment to let the entire world see it too. The plan was in motion. This is how you execute a takedown. It wasn't one single act. It was a coordinated, multi-front assault on Angel Reese's power. The veterans, armed with the knowledge of her hypocrisy, began their counteroffensive. Step one was to publicly and emotionally withdraw their support. The shield they had once formed around her was gone. The most devastating blow came from Ariel Atkins, the very player who had defended Reese all season. When asked about the drama, her response was a dagger. "I think I just don't really care. I'm so over all of this shit. I'm grown and I just don't care." That wasn't just frustration. That was a public declaration that Reese was on her own. The alliance was broken. Step two was the targeted counterstrike from the legend she tried to bury. Courtney Vandersloot didn't hide. She didn't let the too old comment slide. She fired back with the weight of her entire career. In a pointed response, she declared, "Contrary to what people say or think, my age is absolutely not a factor. I am coming back. I'm going to come back better than ever." That statement wasn't just for Reese, it was for the front office. It was a reminder of who she was and a rejection of the narrative Reese was trying to create. It was a legend drawing a line in the sand. An analyst saying Angel Reese will be lucky to have a third of the career that Courtney Vandersloot has had isn't just commentary. It's a reflection of the reality in that locker room. The vets had successfully framed the debate: legacy and professionalism versus ego and chaos. Which brings us to step three, the checkmate. The players had done their part. They had exposed the hypocrisy and won the PR war. Now, it was up to the organization to choose a side. And they did. That suspension was the ultimate victory for the veterans. The franchise publicly sided with them over their young, supposed star. They didn't just punish Reese. They validated the veterans' outrage. The organization's statement about accountability was code. It was a message to the rest of the roster and the league. We will not let one player tear this team apart from the inside.
Here, Tyler Marsh called it a top-down organizational decision, declined to share which comments were viewed as detrimental. Atkins implied the team supported the decision. Ownership handled it how they see fit. She told the Sun-Times, a shooter on Friday, "They have full support from our team."
Did you hear that? They have full support from our team. Ariel Atkins, speaking on behalf of the players, confirmed that the coup was successful. The team had avoided the decision and let ownership handle the headache. The headache, of course, was Angel Reese. The revenge was complete. So what happens after the smoke clears? The revenge plot worked. The veterans reclaimed their locker room. But the fallout has been catastrophic for Angel Reese's future in Chicago. The trust isn't just broken, it's been vaporized. Trade speculation is now running rampant. And you don't have to be an insider to see why. Just look at the language from the team's leadership. When Coach Tyler Marsh was asked directly if Reese had a future with the team, his response was a cold, unconvincing, one-word answer. Sure, that's the opposite of a vote of confidence. That's a coach who is done. The general manager, Jeff Pagliocca, tried to do damage control, saying Reese would be on the roster until I hear differently. That qualifier, until I hear differently, says everything. It means the situation is fragile and her position is not guaranteed. And this is where the comparison that hangs over this entire saga becomes so critical. Why did the team finally have enough? Because while they were dealing with Reese's internal chaos, they were watching Caitlin Clark provide a masterclass in leadership with the Indiana Fever. While Reese was refusing to even travel with her team during a supposed back injury, Clark was on the sideline, injured, coaching her teammates and building unity. Indiana's locker room praised Clark's team-first mentality as they surged toward the playoffs. Meanwhile, Chicago imploded under Reese's divisive leadership, finishing with a disastrous record. The Sky saw what real leadership looked like, and they knew they didn't have it. The thumbnail is right. She's no Caitlin Clark. Clark builds teams up. Reese tears them down. The veterans didn't just get revenge for a disrespectful comment. They exposed a fundamental character flaw, and it may have permanently destroyed Angel Reese's career in Chicago. The question is no longer if the team can fix this. The only question left is, who will be willing to trade for her now?